Cherry Lake. Wow. So where did this thing all start, George?
Yeah, where to begin?
Where to begin?
I mean,
yeah, I think, let's talk about how George and I know each other. We grew up together in Glencoe, Illinois, as young lads in Glencoe. And, when I first met George, I was like, this is a creative spirit. This is someone you want to be around.
Yeah, we were highly developed for our age.
That's for
we
sure,
we could tell, like, our creative energies flowed perfectly at the age of 2. So
yeah, we did some crazy stuff as a kid.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's fast forward. Let's explain what is Hip Dad Radio. Hip Dad Radio is a radio station that I created after college, moving back to Chicago. Just basically a creative space where me and my friends could hang out, talk about music, stream music online, promote artists. And we just been doing that for years. All right, so one night I had a dream. It was amazing. It was about me creating a all audio, all scripted radio drama program, multi episode thing. And I woke up and I said, Eureka! This is $1 million idea.
I think it's one of the most important revelations. It just falls short of Virgin Mary getting approached by an angel that she will conceive the Lord and Savior. I think this is really up there.
It is up there.
Yeah.
And I remember that George and I used to listen to an old radio program from the 40s called The Great Gildersleeve, starring Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve as the water commissioner. And his family, and just it's kind of like a family sitcom, I guess in the radio sense of like in the 40s, and it's just a fun comedy that we used to like when we would go on long car trips, and it's so funny, it's so of its time, and there's really nothing else like it,
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like people are making stuff like that anymore.
No, but yet it's such a good medium for that kind of storytelling.
It
I would
is,
say, right?
yeah.
Because so much of today's world is everything given, right, to the consumer of entertainment. But something is lost when they don't use their imagination anymore, right? And that's why we wanted to create this thing. I can't even call it entertainment because I think it's so much more important than that.
It's so much more.
Yeah.
It's so much more. True. We kept on talking about making something like the Great Gildersleeve, and we're like, oh, it'd be so cool to do it. And then one day we were at Hollywood Grill, the local diner here in Wicker Park, and we thought, you know what? Let's stop talking about it and let's do it.
Yeah, I think we were inspired by the Hollywood themed decor.
Yeah. We were like, look at all these amazing people on the wall, these Hollywood people, and I remember we were like, let's do it. We got out a piece of paper. Actually, no, we got out it was a napkin.
Yeah,
it was a
that's where
napkin.
the original idea came from. Yeah. So, as all good ideas come from.
And I remember George ordered the cherry pie, of course, and I was like, cherry pie? Oh, that's a good idea. How about Cherry Lake?
Yeah, we were trying to think of names for a while, and
we're
just the two of us,
just
the two of us sitting in a booth.
Two of us there.
Just me and you, no one else.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
And we were dwelling on a name because something so important needs a name that conveys that importance, but also illustrates the fun that someone could have listening to it, right? And we really were drawn to a fruit themed name, for our show.
Yes. And then we thought, cherries, Northern Michigan, they grow cherries. So we said
they have lakes.
So we said Cherry Lake.
Yeah.
And, it took about like 2 years to complete the script. And pretty much when George moved here, it was pretty much when we finished the script. He moved back to Chicago.
Well, I just had to move back to Chicago, for this project. It's been too long living apart.
Well, that's why you moved back.
Yeah, exactly. I moved back for Cherry Lake.
Right,
yeah,
makes sense.
It just wasn't feasible anymore to work on it remotely, and this is my entire life.
Right.
So I moved back for.
We basically reached out to pretty much all of the actors in Chicago,
although we
beyond, really.
We didn't really need to reach out to anyone, because as soon as word got out about this project, I mean, we had overwhelming demand And it wasn't just in Chicago that we had interest. I mean, we had an actor from Florida, we had an actor from South Carolina, all across the country. We were getting interest in our. It was exciting.
Yeah, it was exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
just hundreds of applicants, and I remember we held tryouts at your place, and
Unfortunately, a lot of people had to be cut. But that's just
Wasn't
the reality
easy.
of the business. It's my least favorite part.
Yeah.
But
you know.
we
But yeah, so let's talk about a little bit about some of the characters. First off, Lydia Hammond, one of the best voice actors in the country, if not the world. And
100%.
I remember when she tried out, I was like, wow, like she has this perfect she has this emotional scale where she can really change on a dime and to do anything that's on the script. And I was like, well, she's got to be Sally Greer. I mean, because Sally goes through so many changes throughout the story. And I was like, this part was made for her. It's amazing.
My name is Lydia Hanman, and I play Sally Greer. Sally's extremely determined and headstrong. She gets kind of put in her place multiple times throughout the series, but in a way that she gets to fight back a little bit, which is kind of cool to bring to life. Sometimes she doesn't listen, but I know multiple times where I've been in that kind of situation too, so very relatable in that sense. But also cool to see her try to go after what she believes. So kind of fun.
She was bordering on method acting.
She was.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know what method acting is, it's a process where actors transform into the roles that they inhibit, and I fully there.
Yeah, a couple of different actors did that, and that's cool. And like, I mean, it just shows the dedication to their craft, and obviously they really took this seriously, which I really appreciate.
Method acting, you Sally Greer, or what was your process?
That's so funny. No method acting.
We were at Cherry Lake tonight and we were attacked by what can only be described as some sort of monster or very, very large animal. As we tried to escape, Tucker fell behind and I lost him in the woods. Please help. I'm worried about him.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about Rocky Brown, Chicagoan, who we didn't really know much about. He was kind of an underground kind of artist, and he was actually, I met him at one of your parties, and I was talking to him about Cherry Lake and this thing we got going, and he's like, well, I'm a voice actor. And he's like, can I try out? And I was like, let's go. Let's do it, man.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't promise him anything.
Yeah, and I wasn't expecting much, but
Yeah.
I was like, the more the merrier. I'm always down to try out some people.
I'm Rocky Brown, and I'm the voice of Sheriff Murphy. I first heard about Cherry Lake. I was at Greek Easter, throwing it at George's old apartment. I think it was George's apartment. I'm not exactly positive about it. And we were just talking about having done improv and like other things around town, and was just kind of talking through conversation there. And someone mentioned it and just brought it up, and actually got my contact information. And then I heard about it a month and a half or so later. So really random, but a great you had to be there, like really small occurrence kind of situation.
I'm always down to try out some people. And, he comes in and he brings this amazing performance of one of our main characters, Sheriff Sean Murphy.
Yeah. It's a very dynamic role, and he delivered.
He delivered so well. And I was like, you got the role, buddy.
So my interpretation of Sheriff Murphy is he's, a proud man who, is the caretaker of this town despite getting minimal credit for it. He doesn't have the resources. He's kind of overlooked as a person despite being the one everyone turns to when a crisis happens. But he's a deeply exasperated man. Like, he's had tragedy happen. He lost his wife, his son. He hasn't really found a way to connect to. And that kind of bleeds into how he does his work. Because he's a cop. He's a sheriff in a small town in Michigan is it the 50s or 60s? Like, yeah, he's living small town life, and he's taking what little control he has. And the minute the shit hits the fan, and he should have more control, he gets more exasperated by the fact that no one is giving it to him.
And then there's Scooter the dog, who is played by my brother Alex Kennett. Alex, he is a comedian living in Charleston, South Carolina. He's in a lot of different improv groups, so he really knew how to bounce ideas off people in the live setting. And he just brought a lot of like energy. Alex has a lot of energy to his voice, and like Scooter's kind of he's a dog, a happy dog.
Yeah, and not to give anything away here for why we would need a voice actor for our dog, but you'll when you hear it, you'll understand.
You'll understand it.
Hi, my name is Alex Kennett. I play Scooter the dog. When I got the idea, I didn't know of Scooter. I was like, Matt asked me when we started, he was like, well, what do you think you're going to do for the dog? I'm like, I don't know. I had to like really sit and think about this. And yeah, I pitched it, and then the room laughed, and they thought it was funny and cool. And then I just kept doing it.
Anytime we got to see a Scooter line, because I could never figure out what was about to happen. Like it was never the line. it was always something, and it would just cut off or like be half the words, and I was like, oh, it's over? Okay, now we got was.
Yeah.
Some other characters. Adele Wattel. She played Suzanne, the secretary, the sheriff's secretary, and she really had an amazing voice and presence just in that small character. She kind of brought what's that character from Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Yeah, so I gotta say my inspiration for Suzanne is the secretary, the high school secretary from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The one who like hides pens in her hair. Yeah, I basically based my character entirely off of her.
A monster at Cherry Lake? Are you sure it wasn't a deer?
No! This was not a normal animal. It was like a giant ape.
Sally, why couldn't you just try just once to be a normal high school girl?
Great stuff. Then there's Lauren Sheeman, who is a good friend of ours that when you're hanging out with Lauren, he just always has these like crazy little voices that he just brings, and we just knew that we could just sprinkle him into the show and at fun moments, and he brings a lot of comic relief to the show.
Well, I created those voices by I've been practicing this since I was maybe 7 or 8 years old. Just I've always had a lot of voices in my head. Don't quote me out of turn with that. But yeah, I just sort of felt natural. I've just been making noises for years, and eventually I grew up into an adult who made noises. There was the initial interview for Mr. Papadopoulos. George, being Greek, I believe his words were, "This is just the right amount of offensive. You're hired."
Coffee. And now a word from Bob Janglestrom.
Hi, my name's Bob Jingleham, spokesperson for world famous Folgers Coffee. You ever wake up from a 2-scotch night and think, boy, I could use a pick-me-up? I recommend Folgers, the fast fella's formula for future functioning.
But he was really the glue.
Yeah,
right?
he is 100% the glue.
All of the cracks we needed filled were Lauren Sheeman.
Pretty much, and you'll hear him throughout the show, and you'll be like, there he is, doing something great again. All right, then there's our narrator, Curtis Hines, which we could not have done it without. Easily had the most lines in the show.
Yeah.
I remember when I first met Curtis, I was like taken aback. He was a big man, big, deep voice. You're like, wow, this guy's a presence, and I said, you are going to be our narrator. I think he wanted to play a lot of different roles, but and he did. He played. He plays a couple different smaller roles too, but like the narrator's role is so important.
Hey everybody, Curtis. You might recognize his voice. I'm the narrator, also Officer Delmoto and Snake Man. When I first heard about Cherry Lake, I was thinking, wow, that's ambitious. But I wasn't interested, man. I was interested in doing like a first live recording with a bunch of people also in the room, and I thought it was going to be a hell of an experience, so I couldn't say no.
In show business, right, they like to say, show, don't tell, right? Well, for us, right, we have to tell. It's an audio medium, so we have to tell showing to not tell. And Curtis walked that fine line so brilliantly, delivering with gravitas, but also delivering with a level of relatability, I would say, with the audience.
Definitely. All right, and we got to talk about the man who brought it all home, who really helped us out so much, Jared Zingzheim. Good friend of ours. He started off as the musical composer, and if you don't know Jared, he is pretty much a musical prodigy. When you hear him play music, you're like, whoa, this guy is on another planet.
Any instrument, singing, writing, composing.
Yeah, like anything he does, really.
Yeah.
It's like amazing. And so, I begged Jared, I'm like, please help us make the music. You're the only one. And he agreed. And you're going to hear how great the music is. It's amazing.
Yeah. And he didn't just do that. Jared he's a modern day Renaissance man. Anyway, we can end there. Sorry, that's my favorite note. So I had to at least get to that.
That's good.
I put a lot of time into the theme song because of all the songs, the theme song is going to be played in every episode. So, something that from the very first time you hear it, you know exactly what you're getting into with Cherry Lake. An incredible, thrilling mystery. Yeah, the script was super well written, so all the right places. There was references to what kind of music they wanted, what the mood was, what they were trying to tell through the music. In a format where it's all audio, you really have to have a lot of good cues to really cue in the listener so they know what feeling they're supposed to be feeling, and really want that to intertwine with the writing.
So yeah, George and we're the ideas guys, but Jared's the guy who gets things done. He makes it happen. I remember we asked him because we knew he had some good editing skills to help us with the editing, and then we didn't realize how big of a role that is, and we're like, wow, this guy is doing a lot. He's really keeping us on track. He has all these spreadsheets. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And seriously, would not have happened. We would not have finished it without Jared. So he is, key to this whole operation.
100%. Yeah, he did so much.
Definitely.
And on top of that, he plays a role in the show too.
Yeah, he plays one of the big roles. I don't want to give it away, but
it's incredible how much he's contributed to the show. It really is.
Definitely.
And there are so many other actors and actresses, and not to leave them out, but it's just everyone brought their own amazing talent to the project, and we couldn't have done it without any of you.
Seriously, yeah, they were amazing, and they kept coming back for reshoot after reshoot, just because we're perfectionists, how we are. And thank you if you're listening. Oh my God. Yeah, so that's Cherry Lake in a nutshell.
Pretty much.
It's a project that George and I have been working on for so long, like 6 years now, and it was a lot of work. And it's funny, like throughout the years, trying to explain to people what this is. It's kind of hard, but but now it's so nice that I can finally show it to people and have it out there in the world, and people can relate, I think.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And you all are in for a treat tonight because this is the world premiere of not just episode 1, but also episode 2 of Cherry Lake. So if everyone could get out of their seats and welcome your hosts, Matt Kennett and George Trabaris, the amazing creators of Cherry Lake.